Should I introduce myself? I always forget if I need to do
Yes,
that.
that's fine. Yeah,
Just say
we're
hi,
live
I'm
now.
Leah.
You just
Okay,
said it.
thanks.
Hi, I'm Leah.
Hi. Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Tonight we're celebrating with author Delta James. If you're looking for paranormal, dark, and contemporary Western erotic romance, you found your new favorite author. Alpha heroes find real love with feisty heroines in Delta James's sinfully sultry romances. Welcome to a world where true love conquers all and good triumphs over evil. Delta's stories are filled with erotic encounters of romance and discipline. So, the rules of the night: you can ask all the questions you want in the chat. We will do our best to answer them. Sometimes we get lost in tangents and don't pay attention to what's going on next to us, but forgive us for that one. But we will try and get to all of your questions. In the description, also, Becky is going to pop in all of Delta's social media pages, her Goodreads, Amazon, all of the good stuff, everywhere you can find her and follow her. You can follow, like, and subscribe at the end of the night. And one lucky person will win a swag-filled box from us. And Delta has a signed paperback of your choice up for grabs as well. So stick around because we'll do that at the very end. Okay, I think that's everything. Welcome, Delta James. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
We're excited. I'm excited. There's already 12 people hanging out with us. So if you guys are here, you can just say hello to us in the chat. We love to hear from you. If you're having problems not figuring out how to chat, I just learned that this might be some issue for some people. You just need to log into Chrome with your Gmail account, and that will give you access to be able to comment on.
There's a little button at the bottom of the chat where you have to click to subscribe in, and that'll let you get in there. You might have to reload your page, but
Nikki's like, hi, Nikki. We're so glad you're here. This is the super fan I was telling you about. Nikki is like,
hi, Nikki.
We got Leanne and Susie are all joined us. Okay, so Delta, tell us, what are you drinking tonight?
I'm drinking Diet Coke, which is my beverage of choice. I have it in one of my can cozies. I live on Diet Coke, especially when I'm writing. It's my fuel. I don't drink coffee, so it's like I get up in the morning, I let the dogs out, I grab a Diet Coke, I let the dogs back in. So
you have dogs,
and I can do that really without opening my eyes.
Yeah, what kind of dogs?
We love dogs.
I have Basset Hounds. We have champion Basset Hounds. So they're we have all girls, and we have them from 12 years old down to 5. Well, no, she just turned 6 months old.
Aww.
And everything in between.
That's
and
amazing.
one of our grand champion girls is actually she's just going to turn 3 in July, and she is the great granddaughter of my 12-year-old. So
that's kind of awesome.
Yeah, we're big doggy fans here.
I was gonna say, I have Aussie Shepherds. You might get to see them behind me. The one likes to hump the other one for entertainment value. It's a good time around here.
Yeah.
Sandra says, hello, Delta. She loves your books. So
thank you so much. I love writing them. I do. I tell people I have the best job in the world. Truly. I get up every day. I never get up and go, oh God, I have to go to work. I get up every day excited to do what I do. And I'm really lucky that I get to do it.
That's wonderful. I wish I could say that. And some days I don't have that feeling. But I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm venturing into
You have a much harder job than I do. Much harder.
No, but COVID and quarantine, it was a lot. I love my children, but 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
A little much.
It's a lot. I like those school breaks. They're back in school 4 days a week now, and it's been like the best ever. I
always used to get told by people, oh, you'd make such a good mom. You're so good with your dogs. And I'd always say, yes, the difference is if my dogs really annoy me, I can put them in crates and child services frowns on that kind of thing.
Yeah, they don't like those things. So.
Yeah.
They don't like it when you do that.
So Becky put up, what did you put up? Do you put up,
her Goodreads, but I'm getting her Amazon right now because people in the chat, if you don't know, following an author in Amazon is amazing. because it helps their search analytics and come up more often in searches when you're looking for books, but also you as the reader, it helps you know when books go up for pre-order, when books are released. And because I am the worst at keeping track of things, if I love an author, I follow them, because then I remember to go in and order the book, and then I get a surprise on my Kindle the next morning because look, there's a book in my Kindle I ordered 6 months ago.
I love when that happens.
The best.
Okay, so Delta James, what do you like to read? What kind of books do you read?
I don't read a lot of romance, not because I don't like it, but because I don't want to ever be put in a position where I remember somebody else's plot and
Mhm.
start to use it by accident. So I tend to stay away from romance unless I'm reading something for a friend that they want me to beta read it for them.
Uh-huh.
I tend to like, I'm a huge Dan Brown junkie, The Da Vinci Code, The
I
Lost
like his
Symbol,
books.
Angels and Demons. Love his stuff. And when he was alive, I was a big Robert Ludlum fan.
Uh-huh.
I would
Oh.
literally wait until a Ludlum novel came out in hardback. I
Mhm.
would go and buy it, and then I would sit down on a Friday night and start reading and not stop, not sleep, not anything until I was done.
My dad loved his books. Like, that was, you always knew when there was a Robert Ludlum book coming out, because my dad would
Oh, yeah.
buy it the day it came out at the grocery store, at the local newsstand. And then, like, we just didn't talk to him for a couple days.
Yeah, that's kind of me. I would tell people I'm going away for the weekend, and my friends finally got to where they'd say, "Are you really going away, or are you just gonna? Is there a new Ludlum novel?" Well, okay.
Fair, fair.
I mean, they knew what to
Uh,
expect.
Barbara asked, have you ever ventured into another area or genre outside of the romance?
No. Well, I take that back. I've showed horses and dogs most of my life, and I've written a lot of nonfiction things for various dog magazines and horse magazines. And one year, one of the magazines had me do kind of a running thing of going through and showing my horse the whole time, because I was not one of those people who had tons and tons of money.
Mhm.
And so people were very sort of attracted to me and my horse because I did everything on a budget. And I proved to them they didn't have to have a $60,000 gelding, and they didn't have to have a $500 show shirt. I showed
Mhm.
them how they could do that on a budget and look just as good and just as right. So
Awesome.
that's kind of where I started. And then one of the questions I a lot of times get asked is, how did I get started? And I was sitting in my living room and I thought to myself, whatever happened to that girl whose philosophy in life was fortune favors the bold? And I thought, I want her back. And so I thought, I'm not going to make decisions based in fear anymore. I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to make it happen. And the first thing that popped in my head was, okay, I said you wanted to be a novelist. So I sat down and I wrote my first novel.
Yeah.
And that's how I started.
That's
That's
awesome.
amazing.
And
that is amazing.
2 years later, I was able to quit my day job.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was very, very lucky. I've had tremendous support from my readers. My publisher was very good to me. So I've just been very, very lucky. And I have a terrific publicity assistant, Renee Brooks, who literally runs the business side of my life.
Mhm.
People will say to me, well, can you do this? And I'm like, oh, check with Renee. I truly have no idea. And there are some days Renee will message me and she'll say, go here, do this, push that button. And I'll go, okay. And I do that. And somebody will say, do you know what you did? And it's like, no. And they're like, well,
I
why
just
did
did
you do
what
it?
I
And
was
said,
told.
because Renee told me to. I mean, it doesn't get any more difficult. And then people are like, you're so good at marketing. No, I hired Renee. That's what she does. I have nothing to do with any of that. So
You're like,
any of these cool things you see, no,
It's not
I
you.
don't do this.
Okay,
No,
I
I
have
just
to
I
laugh.
just write the books. I write them. Renee sells them. That's how we do it.
I have to laugh because when I Heather Roberts, your
Uh-huh.
PR person, when I was talking to her from Elle Woods, she's like, just do yourself a favor and CC Renee in everything. Because if Renee doesn't know about it, then Delta's not doing it.
I get busy writing and I don't know. And so Renee will literally, there are times she'll literally call me on the phone because I'm offline and she's like, you need to do this now. And it's like, oh, okay. And I go and do it. I mean, I am actually very good about that, but it's just when people say, how do you write as fast as you do? How do you produce what you do? Because I don't do anything but write. I don't get involved in the marketing. That's all Renee. I do that. I just hand it to her and let her run with it. And so when people say, well, what does she do for you? And it's like,
What
she puts
doesn't
out
she
my
do?
newsletter. She, and she sets things up for me. And so I don't know.
I write the books. She does.
Yeah, that's it. That's me. I just write the books.
I only.
I have the best part of the job. I write the books and I get to play with the readers. That's my job. I get to have all the fun.
I think that's a pretty good deal. Nikki wants to know if this is why you write such strong female leads, is because you yourself were in an area where you didn't have a ton to your name financially at first, and you had to work within a budget and, kind of figure things out. So do you kind of translate that into your very strong female leads?
I do. And I also did it for a reason, because when I started sort of researching erotic romance and I was reading it at the time, and so many of the women were women I couldn't relate to. Either they were, this super powerful, beautiful, nothing wrong ever happened to her girl, or they were just broken and bent and could never be saved. And I thought, I don't think that's the majority of women. I think the majority of women are like me. We screw up, we get up, we dust ourselves off, we get on with our lives. And so that's what I started writing. And it really, I think, resonated with people. I had two really great compliments. One was from a fellow author who said to me, there's a philosophy that says you can either write fast or you can write good. She said, you're the only person I know that does both. That meant a lot to me. The other thing somebody said to me was, she said, some people's heroines, I look at them and I think, oh, I can never be her. She's really amazing. And I really admire her, but I can never be her. She said, your girls, I want to go have brunch with. I want to go have a margarita and some nachos with. I want to hang out. And I thought, yeah, that's my girls. Those are that's, like you said, my tribe. This is what my women are like. I think other women can relate to them because they're me, they're them. If they're not them now, they're the them they want to be. And they go, she's not so far off me. I could do that.
Right.
And that's what I want them to hear. Yeah, you could. You could do it.
You do it pretty amazingly well, I will say.
Thank you.
I've only read 3 of your books. I'm slowly getting down the rabbit hole, but it's been a rough 2-3 weeks in my house since. So, and you have a lot of books.
A lot of books.
I do.
Please forgive me. I'm only 3 in, but I was like, oh, this is a girl we need to go day drinking together. This is the girl that's going to drink margaritas with me and help me not get kicked out of the restaurant.
Or this is the girl that's going to get me kicked out of the restaurant willingly.
But we're going to have a good time.
Exactly. Susie wants to know where you get your inspiration for your books.
I am a total pantser. And literally, I have characters come forward and sort of knock on my brain and say, oh, hey, I got a story to tell. And sometimes I think I'm going to tell this story, but a different character goes, yeah, I don't want you to listen. And it's always the men. I got to tell you, it's always the alphas. They're like, no. I'm bigger than he is. You're going to listen to me. You're going to do my story first. So I end up doing that. And that's how I do it. I just listen to the characters in my head. There was an old television show called Castle, and it was about a mystery writer. And the opening monologue, he says, there are 2 kinds of people that sit around thinking about murder: psychopaths and mystery writers. I'm the kind that pays better. I always say there are 2 kinds of people who hear voices in their head: schizophrenics and romance writers. I'm the kind that pays better. But I mean, I literally do. But what's really funny is I have readers who, if I'm not listening to a character, they'll go and talk to readers of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've had readers call, and I can always tell when it's happened because they'll get on the private message with me and they'll go, Delta. It's like, yeah, hey, what's up? You're going to think I'm crazy. And now it's happened enough that I go, okay, who is it? And they're like, what? I said, who's talking to you? Because that's what's happened. Oh my God, yes. How did you know that? Well, it's happened before. And I always tell them there's 1 of 2 things you can do. You either tell them to shut up and go away, and they actually will. Or you can let them tell you their story. And when they tell you their story, kind of the main plot, send it to me and I'll write the book. And that's what happens. And it's just lots of fun.
So,
But
okay,
it's
but so you write in series. Now, do you ever have, because we had an author who has a past character that constantly shows up in other stories. Like, he is this larger than life character, and she wrote his book like 5 years ago, and he still talks to her. Like, he still
oh,
will say,
absolutely.
I need to be in this story. Can I have a piece in this? So, do you have characters like that too that
Oh,
want in on this story?
absolutely. And I have characters that want to cross genres, and it's like the one that anybody who knows my books knows. I have a character named Jean-Michel Gaultier. He's the Alpha of New Orleans, and the guy is bigger than life. He was not supposed to have his own character. He wrote his own book. He was supposed to be a minor character in a first book. Yeah, that didn't work for him. And I had him slated for being with this one girl. And he's like, no, she's very nice, but I want her. And I'm like, she doesn't have a backstory, and I'm almost done with the book. And he's like, I don't care. I want her. So you need to write her a backstory. I'm like, Lacey's a perfectly lovely girl. And he's like, I don't care. I want Darby. And I'm like,
She's not lovely enough.
no, it was never about, for Jean-Michel, it was never about looks. It really wasn't.
Uh-huh.
It was about who Darby was, and that he knew that she was his fated mate. He just wasn't having anybody else. And he is one of my most enduring characters. He weaves his way into books that have nothing to do with him. And he's just lots of fun. And he's
that.
just bigger than life. And I did a thing one night on my Wayward Pack where he came on and answered questions from readers. And Renee thought I was nuts. And she thought it was going to just be awful, and nobody would show up and nobody would play. And I had scheduled for half an hour, and 3.5 hours later, we were still all having a good time. But I created him a Facebook page. And so every time I answered, I channeled him and I answered as Jean-Michel. And it was just, I had such a good time. It was just a blast.
That sounds like fun. Nikki says she loves Darby.
Yeah.
Yes. A lot of women like Darby because she's not an alpha female.
Mm-hmm.
And she's married to Jean-Michel, who adores her. But she's smart and she's tough. And in her book, she actually sacrifices herself for the rest of the pack. She doesn't die, but she puts herself out there. And I think women can, sometimes when you look at some of my women, they're a little strong. They're alpha types like I am. And
Mm-hmm.
I think some women think, oh, that's not me. But they can relate to Darby, or they can relate to Roz, or they can relate to some of the other women who are not what I would call alpha females.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you have to be an alpha to be important.
Right.
That's kind of a common theme, is that if you're not an alpha male or you're not an alpha female, you're not important in a book. Yeah, bullshit. Sorry, excuse my language,
That's
but
fine.
That's fine.
I don't believe that. I think everybody has importance. I don't think that has anything to do with anything other than how you present yourself. That's all it is. That's all the importance it has. It's just a different way of doing things and of presenting
how
yourself.
you present yourself to the world and who you
Exactly.
are. And sometimes I love the character that's not quite the alpha. I recently read a book with a girl that, she's very smart, but a little bit meek and a little unsure of herself. And I adored her. And I'm sure some of it was a little bit of mom because I'm a little older than, the character in the book I think was 22. And I'm like, oh, I can be your mom and I didn't get pregnant as a teen kind of situation. But I'm like, I just loved her. I loved her and I wanted to be like, yes, you are such a good girl and you're so smart. And even though you're a little timid and a little unsure of yourself, it didn't, diminish her value in the story.
No.
She was amazing.
Yeah. I try to give all the characters, they don't all get equal time, because if you're not the main character, obviously you're not going to have as much time in the book. But I give them all equal importance.
Well, and you allow them to
anyone.
show their strengths, like what
Exactly.
their strength is. Like one woman's strength is not necessarily the same as somebody else's. Sorry, I'm trying to plug in here.
That's okay. Well, so we have some questions. Oh, my mother's here. Say hello to my mother.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Becky's mom.
She's like, I think I'm sad I'm late. You're fine. The fun just got started. And then Nikki says Catherine is one of my favorite in that series. She just loves Catherine. So, and
Catherine
Lindsay
is this. She's turned by her mate, who is Marco, and he is Italian, and he makes Jean-Michel look calm. And Catherine's response to him is she tends to break pottery over his head. She gets pissed off at him and she beans him with pottery, and he just sort of laughs it off. You know, he doesn't think much about it. He just kind of goes, oh, well, you know, that's what she does.
She's just throwing some more at me.
Yeah, and he always says to people, you know, the madder she gets, the more expensive the pottery, you know. And, and she was the first time I dealt with somebody being turned, because I thought, how would you react if you've fallen for this guy? He's amazing. He's a great lover, blah, blah, blah. And he tells you he's a wolf. And you're like, okay, he's crazy. And then he turns into one. And you're like, oh my God.
Maybe I'm crazy too.
Yeah. And my wolf shifters aren't like werewolves, like they don't turn with the moon and turn into some grotesque creature. They can shift whenever they want. 1 minute you're a human, 1 minute you're a wolf. It's a very seamless.
Did you create your own lore then for your shifters? Like
yes, I based a little bit of my story and a little bit of my world on Adeline Rain's world.
Okay.
And went from there, and Addie always says, no, you didn't. You really didn't. And I'm like, yeah, really, I did. It's your book influenced me. That's why I asked you if I could do that. And she's like, yeah, but yours is so much more colorful, and there's so much more depth, and there's so much. I said, yes, because you put together the outline and I just got to color it in and color outside the lines.
That's awesome.
Okay, I went ahead and I put up Delta's Facebook group. So today I joined your group, like I think yesterday, because I wasn't thinking. And so I joined. Your group is active.
Oh, yes.
They have opinions and thoughts. And so if you're looking for book recs, if you want to know what people are thinking and all that stuff, join Delta's Facebook group. They are amazing. I loved these women already, and I've only been there for like 36 hours. So
it's a lot of fun. It's a really good group. We don't have a lot of rules. My thing is you just have to be civil to each other.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, so much kindness. And this, just I threw up my post of tonight's event, and so many people were like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I can't wait. This is really nice. Oh, how fun. And that it's just very sweet. I always feel like an interloper when I come into groups just to drop a little promo for our event. But I'm so excited to spend that time with the author, and I know that your readers want to spend this time with you too. And so everybody was just really sweet, and so you have an amazing group.
They're a really fun group, and we've had some really amazingly deep discussions about different things in people's lives, and I posted something about submission, and women just really reacted to it, and I was honestly incredibly humbled that so many women felt safe enough to share their stories and to post the things they were posting. I just felt like I was literally blown away. I just kept sitting there going, I can't believe this. I can't believe this.
And it's so awesome when you find a community. That's something I've been in a conference all week for podcasts, and that has been like a huge piece of this is about community. What are you trying to do with what you're doing? So for you, with you telling your stories have created community and engagement, and that's amazing. That
it's a lot of fun
can happen. It's just awesome.
One of my things. We talked about this before we went on live stream. Nobody's ever accused me of being shy. I know, big surprise, right? And one of the things that attracted Renee to me as a client was she said, most authors, I have to have, smelling salts in one hand and an airsick bag in the other because they're so nervous, they're so introverted. And I'm not. And I was sitting between two very well-known authors at my first conference, and they were like sort of waiting between people to come up. And I had them three across in 3D and was having a blast. And she will tell you, and my personal assistant, who's my best friend who travels with me, will tell you, author events are my crack cocaine.
Yeah.
I have a blast. I post where we're going to be. Chris and I are down in the bar. Come join us. Chris brought her Carrie, come up and get a cup of coffee. We're always out and about and doing stuff. I like I stole a thing from Pepper North. I had 2 tokens made. Pepper used to always hide a book somewhere in the hotel and would tell people you could find it and then bring it to her and she'd sign it for you. And I thought that's great, except for the fact that I want people to be able to get the book they want.
Right.
So I had 2 tokens made and I hide them somewhere in the hotel. And when you find the token, you get the token, and then at the sighting, you bring it to me and you can trade it for any book you want. And
That's awesome.
Okay.
But it's been fun. And when we went to Dallas, I had a bunch of people in the pack who were, it was going to be their very first event, and they were very nervous about going. And so I had buttons made that said Delta Does Dallas. And I mailed them out to readers. I said, if you send me your address, I'll send you one. I talked to the hotel and I said, if somebody asks for a Delta button, could you give them one of these? And they're like, sure. And then they called and said, we're out. Do you have more? And I said, yes. Let's more down to them. But I said, that way you can put it on your clothes and you'll be able to recognize you. It's, oh God, it's a Delta person. I can go talk to her. You won't be alone.
People.
And it worked great. It was a lot of fun, and people had a great time with it. And of course, we play on the Delta Does Dallas, and
Well, I've only been working in the industry for about 20 months, and we've only been have the podcast since June, so we haven't had a conference season yet. And watch out, people, because I am coming to conferences. I cannot wait. I told my husband, I said it's a good thing he works for our local university because I'm spending the children's college money on book conferences.
I just have so much fun. I just I just have it, like I said, it's my crack cocaine. I get to interact with readers, and I don't I don't do things the way a lot of people do. I don't have people pay for pre-orders. I just have enough books with me. And if you've said to me, I'd like these books, I'd put them aside for you. If somebody for some reason doesn't end up buying them, and that's never happened, that's fine. I can take them home and sell them another place or send them another place. I try to make it as easy as I can for people. And I try to make it easy for them to come up and talk to me. And when I have a table, I always get a full table. And Chris, who's my personal assistant, is over here bagging up your books and stuff or handing the books to me. Renee's over here taking your money. So all I have to do is talk to my readers. I get to talk to the readers and sign things. And because of that, I don't have to worry about, I don't, people get to spend time with me, not with, I'm going to turn this off.
That's okay.
They don't have to worry about, there's somebody behind me,
Right.
And I also tell people, if for some reason you couldn't get to me during the book conference, just private message me on Facebook. I'll grab a book for you. I'll meet you someplace. Don't worry about it.
That's awesome.
Well, you're trying to get around at those book conferences, and they're huge.
Yeah.
There's all these people, and I don't think, even if it's a 4 or 5 hour signing, I don't think you can get to everybody.
No.
So I try to make it easy so my people can go, well, I'll get to Delta later. I can go see Delta later, and so I don't worry about it.
Sandra says the Alpha Dog and Mac are also her favorite alphas.
Yes. Robert Fitzwallace is amazing. And I have a great audio narrator, and he does the best Scottish accent ever. And he's so perfect as Fitzwallace. And I was never going to write Alpha Dog.
Is his Fitzwallace in reference to Fitzwallace from Pride and Prejudice?
No. Nope.
I was going to give you all these literary props for naming my favorite characters.
I'm
Becky. Really
Just believe
Becky.
it.
I don't like really good literature. I never have. I tell people I don't. Somebody. I was in a writers group, and this woman said to me, she'd been working on the same book for 3 years. Nobody's ever seen the book. She's never finished the book, and she said to me, "Why do you write that smut?" And I looked at her. I said, because it sells. And
Whatever.
I'm not trying to write the great American novel.
No,
Because guess what? I don't want to read the great American novel. I want to read something that's fun and entertaining and takes me out of my life, and I get to escape, and I get to have a good time, and I get to go on an adventure. That's what I want from a book. that's what I write.
That's
So I
love
write,
that.
I write what I do, you know.
Yeah. So Barb asked, when you're working on a current project and come up with an idea for a future project, do you have to stop and draft the future project or note it out or anything like that? No. They
You
just
know,
stay
what
in
I
your
do
head.
is I have a best friend named Chris, and she works as my personal assistant. And a couple of years, last year, we decided we were always either at her house in Maryland or my house in North Carolina, and we decided this is stupid. Let's just buy a house together. So we did. And people sort of look at me, and we always say, Chris would always say to them, "Think Golden Girls. We're the Golden Girls." And I said, "Yes, with a touch of Thelma and Louise." And, but if I have an idea, I can say to Chris, "Write this down."
Uh-huh.
And she just writes it down. And then when I get ready for it, she's got it all written up and I can take it and run with it. But that way I don't have to stop what I'm doing. I don't have to break what I'm doing. I can just get it down. And a lot of times if I get stopped or if I get really tired, I love to drive. So we'll go out for a drive. We'll pile all the dogs in the back of the car and we go for a drive. And Chris has a notebook with her and we spin tales. And she was laughing. She goes, "I know some people probably think you're wasting time, but we come back with the best ideas, you know. I can spend a whole series on a car drive."
That's awesome.
Because it's relaxing to me and Chris is there to take it all down.
Awesome.
So do you like write one book at a time, like fully
Yes.
finish and then move on to
And-
the next?
and-
You don't jump around?
Yeah, I'm a weird pantser because a lot of pantsers write different scenes as they come to them and then they
Uh-huh.
string them together. I write from chapter 1 to the end.
Uh-huh.
I don't skip anything. I don't go to other projects. I write from chapter 1 to the end. I write
Uh-huh.
straight through.
Huh.
And so I think sometimes that's why my books have really good continuity is because I don't try to jump around between projects. I don't try to,
Mhm.
string things together. The characters present the story to me and my job is to write the story as best I can.
What's your favorite trope to write in?
Um,
Or do you not
I'm-
have one?
I do. I mean, I'm really known for my paranormal shifters. And I
Uh-huh.
really like my paranormal shifters. The funny thing about that is Brought to Heel, which was my first one, was I just wanted to see if I could write one.
Uh-huh.
I never thought I'd be a paranormal writer. And that's kind of my main jam. But I had a lot of fun last year writing the Mercenary Masters, who were a group of guys who were ex-special forces and had formed a Black Ops group. And
Mhm.
and the first one is Robert Fitzwallace's Alpha Dog, and his woman is a woman named Jordan James. And Jordan's parents were killed in a suicidal bombing, and she decides that she's going to go out and rescue women. And this is what she's going to do. She's going to be a political activist. The problem is she says it doesn't pay well. So she opens a BDSM club in London, next door to Sherlock Holmes's place. So
Uh-huh.
Baker Street is the name of her club, and it's at 221A Baker Street. And
love that.
it takes off from there.
Okay, so Nikki wants to know what is the significance of the hotel in London?
So, I love the Savoy. It is, to me, the ultimate hotel. And so I tend to use it, and partially I tend to use it because the Savoy likes me. I have their marketing director's direct email, and I can literally send her an email and say, I can't remember, is the pool on the 3rd floor or the 9th floor? It's on this floor. Thank you. And off I go. So when you see things about the Savoy in my books, you can actually go to the Savoy and see them. And especially in paranormal, I try to ground as much of what I write about in things you can go and see and put your
Uh-huh.
hands on and touch. And I wrote about, I said something at the Seattle Space Needle, and I always call places and say, I write erotic romance. It's very steamy. Would you mind if I mentioned your place?
Uh-huh.
And they're all like, yeah, that'd be great. Because they're, and I always say to them, I won't represent you in a derogatory manner, which I don't.
Right.
But I had the guy that manages the Seattle Space Needle message me back, and he said, does something happen on the observation deck? And I said, yeah. And he goes, on the Elliott Bay side? And I went, yeah. He went, okay, that explains it. He says, our elevator operators keep saying people go up to the observation deck and immediately go to the Elliott baseline. It's because something happened over there. And so I have a lot of fun with that kind of stuff. I had a gal who was a big reader. She wrote me and she said, my husband and I just got married and we decided we either had money for a big honeymoon or to put a down payment on a house. We decided to be adults and put money on a house. But we want to take a long weekend. You seem like you know New Orleans. And I said, I do. And she said, could you recommend some things? I said, sure. So I did. I wrote out all these different places I like to go in New Orleans. And she was on, one of the things I recommended is there used to be a riverboat tour of the river plantations. And they go by and they tell you the different plantations and their history and all this kind of stuff. And she's sitting with her husband on this tour and she's looking and she goes, oh my God, that's Rive de Loup. Her husband goes, what? And she goes, that's Rive de Loup. I know it is. The tour guy says, no, that's the so-and-so plantation. She goes, yeah. It's Rive de Loup. and this woman at the other end of the boat stands up and she goes, do you read Delta James? And she goes, yeah. She goes, do you think that's Rive de Loup? She goes, sure it is. Look, there's the pavilion and there's that. And they're like, and so the tour guide stops the boat, backs it up, and these two women proceed to tell. And she goes, but we don't know that for sure. And she goes, I don't know. Oh, wait, Delta's online. I'll ask her. So I get this private message on Facebook. Did you use the so-and-so plantation for Rive de Loup, for the model for Rive de Loup? I said, yeah. She goes, thanks. I'll talk to you later about it. And I went, and so I got the tour guide lady said, where would I buy the book? And I said, I'll send it to you. Where do you want it?
That's awesome.
Okay, just so you know, Leah, Nikki is trying to now plan a overseas book club trip so that we can check out the hotel in London. So I think we might
because it was
stateside first.
There's a great author signing in 2022 in Blackpool, England, which I'm going to be going to.
Here we go, Nikki.
And we're gonna. So, Nikki, you should come because we are going to spend the night at the Savoy. If nothing else, we should all go have brunch at the Savoy because, okay, it's not the best brunch. It's the second best brunch in the world. I love brunch. It's the second best brunch in the world. The best brunch in the world is in New Orleans at the Court of Two Sisters. And I don't get paid by any of these people to promote their places. It's just places I like.
I like brunch.
Court of Two Sisters
I do like brunch.
Really, I like any meal that we can drink at and it's socially acceptable, you know.
And you would love the Court of Two Sisters because, girlfriend, you can drink anytime, day or night in New Orleans. You can take a hurricane from one bar and walk out onto the street and walk into another bar with your hurricane.
See, that's what I love.
Nobody will say anything.
Did you see my fancy pineapple glasses? I don't know who John is.
Who's John?
I do not know who John is.
Like, John is gone. That was weird.
I moved on. I don't know who John is. That was really bizarre. Okay, that was weird.
Anyway, back to your pineapple glasses.
Yeah, I have fancy pineapple glasses, and I bought them specifically so that I could put hurricanes in them, because what's better for a hurricane than a pineapple glass? Anyway.
Absolutely.
Leanne says she's down for a book club trip. She doesn't care where we're going. And my mother is claiming she's chaperoning. Here's the problem. If we take my mother needs her own chaperone.
That's all right. We'll hang out. And if she doesn't want to be corrupted, that's okay. We'll corrupt her anyway.
Oh, she's corrupted all on her own. Trust and believe that lady.
There's no corrupting needed.
Right.
Sandra wants to know if you're going to be in Texas anytime this year.
Yes, we're supposed to be in Texas on August the 14th. It is at the Marriott in Dallas. It's a huge, it's Delightfully Dirty in Dallas. It is probably, if not the best conference I've ever been to. It's right up there. I mean, we got canceled for last year.
Right.
We went last year and just had a ball. Oh, there's a guy named John, and his name is, he also goes by JT Farrell. He's my narrator. You need to let him in. He's lots of fun.
Oh,
he's a narrator.
People will love him. Everybody loves John. He came on to do a reading one day on the PAC for half an hour, And again, it was one of those 3-hour
Okay.
later things. We were having too much fun.
John, if you are watching still, jump back in and I will add you into the screen. I'm like, I don't know who John is. My husband came in and he's like, did you just have some random guy jumping in? And I was like, yeah, I don't know why. If that makes sense. So
He's
John,
not
if
random.
you're still with us. Okay, so I'm going to put up Delta's newsletter.
And if you
Link.
get the newsletter, she has a free novella called, I lost it, Harvest. I found it. Harvest. It's the prequel to one of her new series that is coming out soon. And the cover is so cute. I loved
Wait,
it. It's
I
like,
have-
Well,
I
the
have
thing
the
you really
cover.
need to know
Hold
about
on.
my newsletter is I write 4 free novellas a year for newsletter subscribers.
okay,
And that's the only place you can get them is up on the newsletter.
4
And
free a year.
Yes.
I may be subscribing to that now.
Okay.
I do that as a thank you to my
So I
newsletter
just
subscribers.
put the cover
Mhm.
up on
I
YouTube.
think it's a thing to do. And I usually tie them into something I'm doing. And so when we decided to do the Tangled Vine series, which wasn't supposed to be something I did this year,
Uh-huh.
Renee said, you need to do a prequel novel. And I went, okay, so I did. So I did a novella for her.
Well, because Renee said it, so you had
Yeah,
to do
because
it.
that's I pretty much do what Renee says. Well, and I do what readers say. It's funny. I had this whole year planned out, and so then I went on the pack and I said, "What do you guys want to see? What?" And they, by and large, wanted more Wayward Mates or Wayward Mates type stories.
Uh-huh.
That's what they wanted. That was my first big series, and I thought, okay, so I scrapped everything else I was going to do, and I started planning Tangled Vines, which
Uh-huh.
is set on the West Coast. They're
Okay.
wolf shifters. They all have vineyards. There'll be an overarching storyline. There won't be any cliffhangers. Well, there's not maybe a mini cliffhanger with the overarching storyline.
That's
but
okay.
Every couple gets their own complete story in a novel, happily ever after, and you don't have to read them in order.
Okay, that's good because I don't like a cliffhanger.
I don't
mean-
either.
So I'm gonna
And the nice thing about
share-
me is I produce fast enough that even if I did, you wouldn't have to wait that long. But I don't. I
Uh-huh.
try to make every novel standalone so that it's right there. You can read it, and every couple gets their happily ever after
Mhm.
in that novel, not somewhere down the line. Here, that's what
Wh-
happens.
And when does the first one of that series?
The first
come
one
out?
is called Uncorked, and it
Okay.
debuts on the 25th. It is actually up for pre-order on Amazon.
Well, because I saw the pre-order, I missed the date, but and then you have another book coming out this Friday also.
Yep.
Big Dog.
Big Dog, which is the last of the Mercenary Masters series.
It's the
That's
last one of the
BBS.
Mercenary Masters. And who is in Big Dog? Which
Wyatt, who is the helicopter pilot,
okay.
and just a really nice guy. And the woman is a woman named McKenna, and McKenna shows up very briefly, like literally like 2 sentences in the book before it in Top Dog. When they rescue the other women from this guy, nobody knows McKenna
Yes!
is there, and she's left behind.
Okay.
And it is
I
her
remember
story.
that little piece
Yeah,
now.
it's this little, it's like somebody said to me, you have to read your book so carefully because otherwise you miss stuff. One, there's jokes in there that readers. I always somewhere in a shifter novel, you will see the phrase "brought to heel." Somewhere in it, it'll be there. It's something I do deliberately, or
Uh-huh.
in bestseller. I think I talked about doing a cowboy shifter thing, and I mean I try and like do things so that readers who are consistent readers of mine, they get a little something extra because they get the joke. They know what the
Uh-huh.
joke is.
Yeah.
Nikki wants to know what inspired bestseller.
Bestseller I thought of literally 2 years ago when I first started writing, and then it just came to me. Work came to me, and I thought, how fun would it be to do something somebody very similar to myself who writes this larger than life character,
hmm
and he managed. I don't want to give away the book, but he comes out of the book. I got a 1-star review, and the woman says the hero doesn't even show up until 2/3 of the way in the book, and I thought, were you not reading the book? Because he's right there. He's in the computer. No, he doesn't step out of the book until there. But he's very present. He's very front and center in the book from the get-go.
Yeah, I really
And-
like that. Like how he is so central and like other people pop up and like he's questioning like how they got out.
Yeah, and how do
But
I push through?
Uh-huh.
And so, and I've had a lot. People really love that book, and I had so much fun writing it. And people really want me to make it a series. So maybe at the end of the year, maybe we'll have a new.
With like
paranormal series.
Holmes will have his own book, and
Yeah,
no, I like that idea.
you know, and I try to write a series one book after the other, so that you're not having to wait
Right.
as long. Once you start one, then you can get all the rest of them. And bestseller started because I got invited to do Dirty Daddy's anthology last year, and I wrote bestseller, and it got such huge response from readers, and from readers who'd never read me before, going, "Oh, you know, I never knew who you were, and this is really fun." And so I decided to expand it into a novel, and I offered it to my publisher, and he said, "No, those never sell well." And I went, "Okay." So I wrote it and I published it independently, and now he's like going, "Oh, that did really well."
Yeah,
like,
it did,
"Dude,
buddy.
I offered
Yeah,
it to you."
it did. Take that, buddy. I mean, we love
I don't
you.
wanna
Thanks
say
for
the term, but
publishing
it's sort of
Delta's
like-
books, but
Well, it's
Take
like
that.
I listen to readers. You know,
Yeah.
I listen to my readers, and I expand my readership. I do things like this where people never see me before. I go and do author takeovers. I do all kinds of things.
okay. So we
Um,
got somebody else coming in here. Oh yeah, we're all set up. We're okay. My
Okay.
husband wasn't sure if we would how it would line up on YouTube, so I'm not sure who this is. Mort TV. Is this your narrator again, Delta?
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Welcome. You need to unmute yourself, and we're happy to have you. But real quick, before anybody else starts, I want to take a minute. This is a shameless plug moment for Buzzing About Romance. We are currently funding our passion project via Patreon. So this is how we pay for our website and all of our software and all our technology that we need. All of the, guests that come on just as the goodness of their heart to help build our product. But there is, when you are passionate about something, there is still cost to it. So if you are interested in joining our Patreon, click on that link. Everything that we make goes right back into our podcast. We do some fun things. We have a monthly reading challenge. We have at least once a week book chats where we get together and talk about what we're reading. 2 weeks ago, I sent everybody a list of over 100 free books on Amazon, and some of them downloaded every stinking book. And then also we have once a month our drunk book club. So it's all virtual. So if you're looking for a tribe of people to hang out with, please consider joining us on Patreon. I promise we are a good time and a lot of fun. So welcome to Happy Hour. Whoever just jumped on. Is this John?
Yeah,
Hey,
it
Terry,
is.
there?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we
Hey,
can hear you
JT.
good.
For those of you that
that's
read
lovely.
my books, he's the guy who does all my audiobooks.
Awesome.
Hi. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, nice to join you. Sorry I don't have video on, but my laptop actually doesn't have a little camera.
Oh, that's okay.
That's okay. It's no problem. So okay, how many books have you narrated for Delta?
Gosh, I honestly don't know. I'd have to
I'm here. I'm going, okay, there's All the Wayward Mates. There were Two of the Dragons. So that's 10. Faded is 11. He's doing bestseller right now. He's done Alpha Dog. So that was what? 14. So he like around 20.
I'm going to say it's probably around 20.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite character that you've gotten to be or read for?
Oh, it's got to be Jean-Michel from the Wayward Men series.
That's
He seems to
awesome.
be
I'll
a
tell you-
favorite with everybody.
Let me tell you how dedicated this guy is. I knew Jean-Michel had to be spot on. I knew he had to have the perfect accent. I think JT did 15 takes on the accent
We
to try and get it
we
right.
went around the block.
Oh, we did. we did. And then he hit it perfect. And it's like, everybody's like, yep, that's Jean-Michel. That's him. That's the guy. And it's like, it was really wonderful. So
That's
what
awesome.
happens when he finishes one book, I said to him, which book do you want to do next? And then give me the dates you want to get them done by. And he says, okay, I do the, it's a very, we work together really well. It's very collaborative and it's just a lot of fun.
So are all your audiobooks just read by John, or does he team up sometimes with female
We haven't
narrators?
done that yet. We haven't done dual narration yet. We've done single. I did have another guy who's done some of my books. At first was Jack Callahan. He also did a great job. I like Jack a lot.
Yeah,
But
Jack's a
JT
great
and
guy.
I just really
Mesh.
hit it off to the point, he's going to kill me, to the point where JT and I wrote a book together.
Really?
And it is currently being edited. And
Awesome.
it's a historical Viking. And
Okay.
JT,
Kinda like a
he knows a lot of Viking stuff, and I don't. And I'm too lazy to write historical because it takes a lot of research. So, but we just had a great time writing it, or I had a good time. I don't know.
Oh, so did
he may
I.
have thought, "Oh God, please never again."
What did I get myself into?
Yeah,
That's
No,
awesome.
we had a fantastic time. We had so much fun,
we did.
and I'm really looking forward to seeing what kind of reception we get with this.
Yeah,
That's
it should be a lot of fun. I think people. I think if you like my stuff, you're gonna like it. If you like Viking stuff, you're gonna like it. It's because it's really grounded in true history.
It's a little bit out of your wheelhouse, though. Like,
No, it's very out of my wheelhouse. I always laugh about people. I say, "Why don't you write historical?" And I look at them and go, "Because I'm too lazy. I don't want to have to do all that research." And I will tell you, historical romance fans are also known as hysterical romance fans, because if you get one thing wrong, they will slay you. I don't want to have to work that hard. So I just, so when I wanted to write something that had swords and horses and everything, I made them post-apocalyptic so I could do whatever I wanted.
Smart. Super
see, there you
smart.
go.
Build your own world. My mother. Oh my God, my mother. I'm pretty sure she's probably like 6 bottles of wine in. Who knows? She wants me to say to you, JT, thank you for not showing your gorgeous face. This allows me to imagine each character without having to overcome your good looks.
Oh,
Pretty
Lynn.
special.
That's fantastic.
Oh, he does. He has such a wonderful reading voice. It's really
fantastic.
awful. A lot of times when we're going places, like when we drive to Dallas or we drive here or we do something long distance, we'll have my books on in the car, which sounds really vain, and I know that. But it's very different to hear your own words come back to you. The first time I did, I was like sitting there, and Chris said, "You have the funniest look on your face." And I said, "Well, yeah." And she said, "Why?" And I said, "This is really good." And she goes, "You wrote it." And I said, "I know, but it's really good." And so that was a lot of fun.
That's so awesome.
Honestly, for me, this has been one of my great joys in audiobook narration, is the idea of being able to take somebody's work that they love, that's their baby, and bring it to life in a completely new way. And I love the fact that I get to do it. I feel like it's a great privilege, and it's why I've never minded spending the time getting the voices exactly right.
And he really does. He
Yeah.
he really does. He works really hard at it to voice what it is I hear in my head when I hear the character. And so he's just great about it. I'm going to tell a real quick story on Chris because it's funny. We were driving when we were looking for houses. We were driving home one night. We were 7 hours from our house, our other house, and we're driving home, and it's really late. We've been gone all day and everything. And we're driving through where there was a lot of road construction, and so we were going really slow. But we had one of the books on, and all of a sudden, I hear from Chris a lot of foul language came out of her very British mouth. And I was like, what the hell? I'm thinking some guy mooned her or, something happened. And I realized, no, she's sound asleep. She's dead to the world. And then we get to another part of the book and she's like, tell him, Jean-Michel, tell him. She could hear, she was asleep, but she could hear the book. It was just, I was literally doubled over the wheel in hysterics, in absolute hysterics. I couldn't stop laughing.
Oh my gosh, that's
That's
so funny.
that's really
I
funny.
shared Delta's Facebook page. Make sure you give it a like so you can be up to date on when she's releasing stuff. Like we said, you have a book releasing tomorrow, right?
I do.
So tell us a little bit about Big Dog,
Big Dog?
right?
Big
Yeah,
Dog
Big
is,
Dog.
as I said, is Wyatt McKenna's story.
Uh-huh.
Wyatt is he's kind of he's less aggressive than the other guys in the group. He's the helicopter pilot. He's the guy who always gets him out. He's just really smart and he's really kind. And they realize that they left this girl behind,
Mm-hmm.
and they feel really bad about it. And they want to find her and make sure she's okay. And she's actually going after the people who sold her into the trafficking ring to get even with them because she's a bomb expert. And so she blows up the people who did its club. My girls don't just sit back and take a little ride. They get involved. Like one of the other characters in this series is a woman named Rhiannon, and Rhiannon is the team sniper.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not regulated to just be the secretary or something. They get in there. And
They're not
fight.
in the sidelines. They're right
No.
in the middle of it all.
No, and McKenna gets them with a glitter bomb. She wants them to know she can get to them, so she sends them a glitter bomb.
That's
I
awesome.
love that.
Those are almost
Glitter.
worse. Like that's so bad because that does not come out. Glitter is terrible.
Yeah, when she's like, you have glitter in your beard.
that's
awesome.
like that's the rule of my house. There's no glitter allowed.
Yeah.
You can do those at your friend's house, but
Yeah.
not in our house.
I have very good friends that own a donut shop and coffee roaster, and they call sprinkles the glitter of the food industry because
Yeah,
the Jimmy sprinkles get everywhere.
Yes.
that's true.
That is so true. So, are you going to be writing any more books in your Wild Mustang series, or is it finished?
I think for right now it's finished. I mean, we sort of, I did the finale book with Marin Smith, who's a dear friend, and we kind of wrapped everything up. If suddenly another character came forward, I never say never because I never know that, but I try and wrap things up so that people can say, okay, I'm done with this. I can go to the next. But it was a lot of fun. It was an interesting series because I wrote it and then I went back late last year and rewrote it. I took it and pulled the books down off of Amazon
Uh-huh.
and revised them and put them back up. And I had a lot of diehard fans of the series who were just livid with me. They were so angry. You're going to wreck it. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm not going to change the characters. I'm not going to change the story. I'm a better writer than I was then.
Mm-hmm.
I want to fix the writing. I want to tell the story better. So that's what I did. I pulled it down. I put it back up. But before I did that, I sent 5 of my harshest critics who were just literally wanting to eat me alive. And I took it and I sent them just free. I just sent it to them.
Uh-huh.
And every single one of them came back and went, okay, that was better. It's really good. But it's just, I'm a better storyteller. And those books, I didn't have as good at editing as I would have liked because I didn't know how to work with the editor at that point. I'm not saying anything about the person who edited it. That was me.
Right. Well, it's a
all on
learning
me.
experience for you.
It
'cause,
is.
Like those were those some of your first books that you wrote?
Yes.
Okay.
It was the first time I went indie. It was the first time I didn't have Stormy Knight holding my hand. Because
Uh-huh.
I have a great editor at Stormy Knight named Jamie. She's just wonderful and I adore her. And I'd kill if she'd do my indie books, but she won't because, she's an ethical person. But I adore Jamie.
But there's also a level of symbiotic type relationship that comes between you and an editor. And so when
And-
you're first starting out, you might not have that give and take that you really truly need. And so now that you've been in it a while and you have the time to do it, you create this relationship and it ends up with a better product at the end.
The other thing that happens to a lot of people, and I think would be frustrating as an editor, is they'll go back and say, I think this should be changed. And they get from the author, oh, it's my baby. I can't change that.
Mm-hmm.
Or they say, it's my art. No, it's not. It's a story, and the editor doesn't, they care, but they don't really care. I mean, they just want you to tell the story in the best way possible.
Right.
They're not writing the story. They're your set of eyes that they don't have an emotional investment.
Well, and
You know, I like
your
like
initial audience. Like if
yeah.
they're not gonna like it, then who's to say anybody
Well,
else is
actually,
gonna
and
like it?
JT found this out. By the time it gets to the editor, my books have gone to my beta reader. They've gone to, I've got like 4 critical readers that I send things to. And I send them to them because I want them to rip it apart. I want them to be critical. I
Uh-huh.
want them to say, I don't like this, or I don't like this guy, or this doesn't work for me, or because then I get it as good as I can, and then I ship it to the editor. And
Well,
then it comes back to me. So
and you might be one of the fortunate ones who have like a really good set of like beta readers and people who are willing to do that for you.
yes.
Because like I know I've talked to a couple authors who they're like, yeah, my beta reader said this was great, and then like I've read it later. I'm like, this could be different.
Well,
Different.
the thing is, I have one who's a friend, and she's also a friend, and she said to me, I tried beta reading for other people, and I realized when they say, "Tell me what you really mean," that
They
isn't
don't.
what they really mean.
Yeah.
And that's not me. I love my characters, and I have an emotional investment in the book and making it good, but I want to make it good for my reader. So if a reader says to me, "This doesn't work for me," I need to look at that.
Yeah.
I need to look. Did I assume something? Did I not explain something as well as it could have been explained? And so and I had just recently, what book was it in? I can't remember. I think may have been in Harvest. Yeah, it wasn't Harvest. One of my beta readers came back and she said he never said he loved her. And I said, well, no, yeah. And she goes, no, your guys always say they love them. Always. It's what they do. And I'm like, oh, that's a problem. So I went back and rewrote a whole scene. And so when she got the book back, and she's like, oh my God, this is amazing.
So
But
as somebody who does beta reading, I have gotten very picky with what authors I will work for to do beta reading, because if you do not, and I have a tendency, and I don't mean to be harsh, to be mean.
No.
I've been reading for 30 plus years. I've been stealing my mom's Jude Devereaux novels since I was 14. I am well versed. I mean, romance. I went down a YA rabbit hole for a while, but romance is what I read. Romance is what I listen to. Romance is everything for me. So when you send me a book, I probably have read 2,000 books plus in my lifetime.
Yeah.
So when you send me a book, I'm going to tell you like what isn't working in the story for me. If the character's supposed to be like a cocky alpha hole, then he needs to read like a cocky alpha hole and not like a squishy cinnamon roll, because there's a difference.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you get authors that are like, okay, would you mind beta reading for this? Because, they appreciate that your knowledge and whatever. And you're like, yes. And then you tell them and they're like, okay, well, I'm not going to do any of those changes you suggested. Thanks.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, please don't waste my time anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And I am very cognizant of people. They're doing this for me. They're not charging me for this. They're giving me their time. They're giving me their opinion. I'm going to listen to what they say. I don't always agree with them.
Right.
But even if I don't agree with them all the way,
but there might be something that they say that like you're like, maybe I should work this part different.
But one of them said to me, she says, but at least I know you listened.
Yeah.
And I will go back and talk to them and say, hey, you said this and blah, 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 and, and talk it through. I'm always trying to give my readers the best book I can.
Mm-hmm.
They spend their hard-earned money to read my books. They deserve the best that I can do. I'm not going to slap it off. I'm not going to do a crappy job. If I did a crappy job, it was because I didn't know I was doing a crappy job. I mean, I work really hard to make sure.
It's not about making every change as a beta reader. That's not what it is. It's just at least listen, to what we're saying. But I mean, I don't know. I'm okay.
It is. It's important. Like I said, I really do listen to my beta readers. And when JT and I were talking, he was like, I had no idea your books went through all of this. It's like, yep.
There's a lot of steps.
Yeah, people don't really. So wait, JT, is this will be your debut author? This will be your debut book?
Yeah, it's really exciting. Because for me, having narrated as many romance books as I have at this point, I started coming around to the idea of this is a lot of fun. I'd like to do it myself.
Uh-huh.
But because I'm brand new to it, the experience of co-writing with Delta was something that was very, very useful to me because I'm taking my first steps in. But to be able to do it around something historical was
Hmm.
really exciting for me because I do like getting into the weeds with the nitty gritty details, but it's also really good to be able to work with somebody who helps me not get lost in the woods of those details. To still remember, the whole point is to be telling a rockin' story.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it's tremendously exciting. I've
It's
also
always
got a couple.
intriguing to me too to have a man want to write romance. So
Uh-huh.
I'm
It's
excited to
there's
read
such
this.
a
I can't
small
wait.
number of it.
I
It's
can
such
tell you he did a great job. I mean, he did. He was really good. When we sent it to the publisher, um, we heard back from Kate like within a week, I think, and she said, "Oh my
Yeah.
God, we love this, and
What
we want to do
was
this."
what was your
Uh,
process for writing? Like,
For
did
co-writing.
you, well, for
Um,
co-writing, yeah. How did you?
JT did the first draft,
Okay.
and I read the first draft, and I said, "This is really good." And he said, "There's a butt coming," and I said, "There is." I said, "I know you've read my stuff because you read it on audio, and we need to have more sex, and we need to have it up front." He's like laughing his ass off, and
Oh
that's
yeah.
what we did. And so I went through and just um, I I crafted more of the female character.
Hmm.
He did the raw outline for her, and then I like I filled in all the colors. I get to have the fun part.
Uh-huh.
And what comes out is this really wonderful, um, really great relationship. All my beta readers said, I think this is the first time I've read a Viking romance that the woman wasn't a wimp. She's
Yeah.
strong and she's tough. She's a witch and she gives as good as she gets. And,
Uh-huh.
and I think that was, and we just really had a lot of fun with that. And I think JT can write romance because he has tremendous respect for women and he likes us as a gender. And that isn't true of all male romance writers, at least in my opinion. But we just, he said to me, well, are we going to do this again? And I said, if it sells, if it sells, let's sign up. Let's go.
So
Let's
when can
go.
we expect this historical Viking romance?
Kate told us we should get it back. What'd she say, JT, like next week?
Well, they're looking. When I talked to her about publication, she said she's looking at publication early May.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll keep you guys. It'll be on the pack. Trust me. It'll be on the pack.
Okay. Well, and
'Cause
if you
this-
sign up for Delta's newsletter, I'll bet it'll be in there too.
Oh,
Sign
yeah.
up for her newsletter. Anyway.
It's a fun newsletter. There's stuff about the audiobooks. I also have an audiobook only newsletter that goes out.
Uh-huh.
It focuses on that. But there's stuff that's you get snippets in the newsletter and you get to know when stuff's coming, you get to know what I'm working on. You get to see pictures of my dogs.
Okay,
I'm not sure
so
they really
Nikki
like
said,
that.
our friend Nikki, who is, the Delta James super fan, she said, she goes, her newsletters are so fantastic. They're so personal and there really are snippets into her life and into her process and who she is. And that's something like tonight with this chat, it's always hard to go into an author that I'm just new to. Like I've only read a couple of your books and you're never quite sure, like, how is this going to go? But you have such an openness and a friendliness about you that it just makes me feel like we're like best friends. Like I can't wait to talk to you again.
Good. Anytime. Anytime.
So I mean, I could see that if your newsletter is little snippets and pieces of your life that your readers, it's no wonder that they're such super
Well, I
fans
think
and such
people
big
like to know that. And I
supporters.
think they like to know what the process is and
Mhm.
how things work and and stuff. And we went a very different way with the Uncorked series, with the Tangled Vine series, with the covers. Usually, especially paranormal romance, there's a big, I call them the hunk du jour. And, I know I'm terrible. But I got tired of seeing the same guys in the same poses and the same. And okay, so you say, okay, you can buy an exclusive photo.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's like $400 plus just for one photo. That gets expensive. And I really wanted to do what they call an object or concept cover. And so I came up with this idea, and I went through a lot. I'm sure there are cover designers who are literally cursing my name because I'd say, that's not what I want. You're not listening to me. They kept wanting to show me a male model. And it's like, I don't want that. Well, that's not a paranormal romance cover. It's my paranormal romance.
No, I saw your cover. I loved it. I
did
loved
too,
how
and
different it is.
I shared it
And
in the stream. So earlier when we first talked about it, it was shared in the stream. So all of the viewers who have been watching and hanging out with us should have seen it, but I will pop it back up there.
And so I got a hold of this gal up in Bellingham, Washington, named Dar, and her web design is Wicked Smart Designs. And I said, this is kind of what I want. And and part of my problem was I didn't know exactly what I wanted. And this was Tuesday night. Today's Thursday, right? Tuesday night. Wednesday morning, I had Uncorked in my email.
That's so awesome.
And I just sat there and I went, oh my God. And Chris was like, what? Oh my God. What what happened? What's wrong? And I said, no, it's good. And she's like, well, and I showed her and she went, oh my God. And I shot it to Renee and she's like, holy crap, she got it. And I told her how many books in the series, what the names were. And she created, as of today, I have both novellas that will be associated with it and all 5 book covers.
No, I love the cover.
They're
Fabulous.
It's
so different than like a lot of the stuff that you see right now, and like but it still has that romantic element to it, which is nice. But then you get the paranormal with like the wolf in the glass, and like, but it's not transparent or like, yeah, like it. But it wasn't just like, I'm gonna put this wolf in the glass. Like it's organic and it flows well, and it's hard to do that kind of thing.
Oh
sometimes.
Yeah, she just blew it out of the water. I showed it to some readers and I showed it to some other author friends, and they all came back and were like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Who is this girl and how did you come up with this? And
like it's so simple, but it's not simple at all at the same time. And I loved that.
And I feel like I can sort of brag on it because I didn't have anything to do with it other than saying, Dar, could you do this for me? Trust me when I tell you, it was all Dar.
Did you give her like an idea? Like, this is kind of what I'm leaning towards?
I said to her, it's going to be 5 books and 2 novellas. It's going to be set all up and down the Pacific coast at vineyards.
Okay.
Here are the names of the things. I don't want a model. I want a concept cover. She went, okay, that's literally, that's what I told her.
And that's what she came up with.
Her. And she came up with Uncorked, and once I said, yep, that's it, today she gave me the next 4 novels and both novellas.
Awesome.
It was just
awesome.
Okay, thank you very much.
Nikki says, Wine and Wolves, what's not to love?
Exactly.
Also, I'm going to put in the chat the Buzzing About Romance Instagram. If you want to keep up to date on all the cool things that we're doing, follow us on Buzzing About Romance on Instagram. We're pretty cool, fun people to hang out with. We do these, usually we do happy hours once a week. We do not have one next week, but we'll be coming back the following week. And then we have 2 in 1 week. So, but yeah. We also put our Quick Shot of Romance episodes, which are our quick 20-minute book review episodes. We put those up on the YouTube also on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So you can always find episodes. We just released one today. So yeah, hang out, join us. We've got some more romantic suspense coming up in the next couple weeks. And I think there's talk and jabber about a paranormal review. So check us out.
Has there been talk and jabber about that?
Well, I believe our friend Minnesota Hockey Mom is
that's right.
The rabbit hole.
Paranormal.
Yeah. She's like, what am I doing? I'm like, I don't know, but please do not tell your husband that I made you buy the books this time, because I already feel like in our tribe, all the husbands are coming at me with pitchforks for the amount of books their wives keep buying. So.
Well, the nice thing about my books is all of them are in KU.
There we
Uh-huh.
go.
I
That's what
love
we'll tell
KU.
Heather.
I do
Heather,
too.
It's
I
true.
think, I
read
think
KU.
There's some good paranormals here.
I
They're
just
good.
I really am a huge believer in KU. Does not always make me popular with my fellow authors. And there are some authors who try to tell readers that I don't get paid if you read it in KU. That's not true. And a lot of my readers are really voracious readers. They can't afford, or, they have better ways to spend their money than spending, buying 10 or 12 books in a month.
I
Well,
I
that's
read
what's-
I read a lot, and
Yeah.
KU has saved my budget.
Oh, yeah. I think
I'm a
it's a
big
great.
user of the library too. I mean, I love our library. I'm very lucky though. I live in an area where we have a phenomenal library and a phenomenal digital library. But I have found through doing this that some of my friends where they live don't have great library systems and don't have
Yeah.
phenomenal. So KU is really a game changer, and I really love it. I really love.
I do too.
KU. It makes books accessible. Again, I'm a voracious reader. I can read a book in a day, which some authors
Exactly.
love to hate, but I can read a book in a day. And so KU, for that price, I can read several of my books, and the mister doesn't come at me for spending all of my book money.
Well, that's why I got involved with KU, was because I thought this is a really good program. And I promise you, authors get paid. And do they get paid as much for a 150-page book in KU as they do if you bought it outright? No, they don't. But it's not that much less. I mean, I'm telling you, it's just not. So
but I will say, if there's a book, so like, I'm going to be honest, I went and bought Bestseller. I bought that one because I loved that story. I really enjoyed it. And I wanted for you as the author to know that this book meant something to me. So I read it, and then I went and I bought it. And I tend to do that. If there is a book that just really I connect with, that I read in KU, and I also am very religious about leaving my reviews and all of that kind of good stuff too, because I know that helps you guys also. But honestly, like, if you read a book in KU, you don't have to buy every book you read in KU, but if there is one that sticks to your heart, sticks to your memory or something,
exactly,
then do a solid. You don't have to do it every month. You don't even have to do it, every 6 months. But if a book calls to your heart that's in KU, buy it.
Yeah, I always laugh about I call it double dipping. I get them in KU and then they turn around and buy the book. But the other thing I
double dip every once in a while.
I
loved it.
I try to tell like newer authors, they'll be told, oh, don't do KU, it doesn't pay, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, it does. And it's also a way that people will try a new author.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They'll go, oh no, I want to spend $4.99. I don't know. But it's in KU, it's cost them $10 a month anyway. So sure, why not give it a try?
I have found many an author through KU.
Yeah.
But then I go down the rabbit hole and read everything.
Exactly. So that's exactly what happens. And so it's the same thing we do with the novellas. If I'm like doing an author takeover and somebody says, well, I've never read you, which is fine. I don't remember reading me. But they seem really interested, I will write them privately and say, hey, what do you like to read? Let me send you a free novella.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, yes, but I have to sign up for your newsletter. I'm like, no, you don't. They're like, no, I have. I was like, no, you don't. I'll send you the free novella. Don't worry about it. I'll just send it to you. So the first time I did that, Renee had heart failure because Renee's a marketing person and she doesn't like that kind of thing. And she said to me, well, start tracking that, who you send to. I said, okay. So I did, and she started looking, and over 95% of the people that we sent a free novella with no strings attached to, turned around and signed up for the newsletter. We don't have a lot of people that subscribe.
The free first in series that some of the bigger authors do that aren't in KU. We just had that happen with Jacinda Wilder. We read her bad motherfucker book, and it was free in Kindle because it's a first in a series. And a couple of our book clubbers were like, do you know there are like 18 books? And I'm like, yeah, but they're in the library. And they're like, they're not in my library. I'm like, I'm sorry. And then the one friend was like, okay, I bought 8 of the 18. And I'm like, okay, but it was a free book. I can only be responsible for the free book. After that, you're on your own.
But I just do. I think it's a really good thing. I don't tend to, I don't like when people put a book in the first book in KU and the rest of the series not, because that feels like bait and switch to me. And
Nope.
I don't like that. So I don't do that. All of my books go in KU.
I
I've
had that
had
happen with a cowboy series. I was really
yeah,
bummed. Book 1 and 2 are in KU, and then she released book 3 early last year or late last year, and it was like a $7.99
yeah,
ebook, not in KU, and I'm just like, oh
yeah. Like I said, I just it and everybody has their own way of doing things. And I'm not trying to knock anybody, but to
Right.
me, if I was a reader, I would feel like that's bait and switch. And
yeah,
I don't like that. I try always really hard to give my readers the best value for their money that I can do.
Hmm.
And I think that's KU. So that's what I do.
that's awesome.
And
Apparently,
I'm
my
pretty
mother
proud of
never
it.
listens to me because she just asked what was KU. Like,
That's okay. Nikki set her straight, and so did Leanne.
I'm just gonna, um, yeah, Danica, $7.99. Can you believe it? That was a lot. Okay, so if you are still here, if you have any other questions, throw them up in the chat. We are going on 90 minutes. So I don't want to keep Miss Delta here for the whole night.
Well, that's all right.
So
I got in my words for the day. I'm good.
she met her word count for the day. I'm sure Danica didn't because, you know, I love her, but she's been busy the last couple days. So if you're here, send up any questions. Also, give us a hey so I can write your name down to be included for our giveaway. Earlier today on Facebook and Instagram, I shared Delta's picture of her amazing swag box that she has, and then I have my girl child made a book sleeve with ice cream cones and then a coffee cup wrap that goes like, you know, well, I guess you could use it for a can cozy too, I guess. That matches.
It is kind of a can koozie.
It kind of is. Anyway, she's my little sewer. Yes, Danica, I did call you out live on the YouTube. You will love me tomorrow. Danica's one of the authors that I do some work for, and so I'm calling her out because I know she keeps changing projects on me. I'm gonna have to give that child some. I'm gonna have to give that child some Adderall. Leanne says hi. So we've got Danica's here, Susie's here, Leanne's here, Lindsay is here. My mother is here, but she cannot win. Mel is here with us. So let's see here. Writing a novella for PNR free anthology coming soon. Is this correct? So tell us a little bit about that. It comes out end of March, I think I was told.
Yeah, March 25th is the debut novel, and it's called Uncorked. And right now, available through the newsletter is the first of the novellas, and it is called Harvest.
Oh,
and
so that's the one that's part of the anthology also.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No, there's actually two. There's the one that's a part of the anthology is Corked.
So we have Uncorked, and then
you have Harvest, Corked, Uncorked, Decanted, Breathe, Full Body, Late Harvest.
All those wine words.
Yes. Here's the funny part. I don't drink wine at all.
That's okay.
So I'm like constantly talking to Renee, who does like wine, and looking stuff up on the internet because I don't want to get it wrong.
Right.
I have to think about getting things wrong. So
yeah. So everybody, if you're here, give us a hi so we can get you counted in our giveaway. I'm gonna throw the email.
It is a fancy swag box, Leanne. You're correct.
And you should know, if you're tuning in from outside of the United States, go ahead and enter, because I don't limit my stuff to just the United States.
Right.
And yes, I would spend $63 to send something to somebody.
I love that. That is so awesome.
They're buying my books from Australia or from England or from Germany. I don't think it's right to exclude them.
Yeah. No, I think
it's a pain in the butt to go to your post office and fill out all the forms, but it just doesn't feel right to me. If I'm going to sell you a book, if you're going to buy my book, you should be able to participate the way everybody else does. So.
Okay, so John, we're going to pull you in here. Give us a number between 1 and 7.
We're going to say 5.
5. Miss Lindsay, you have won the swag box from Delta. go ahead and email us. You know how to get a hold of us, so that I'm pretty sure I have your address, but it's me. So just go ahead, email me that you won so that I can send Delta your mailing address. And then, John, give me another number between 1 and 7 that is not 5, though.
Well, then we're going to have to go with 6.
With 6. Mel. Mel, go ahead and email me the queens at buzzingaboutromance.com, and I will send out to you the book sleeve and the coffee mug wrap and some other swag. I always have stickers. I have a thing for stickers. Stickers are like, they're catnip for me. So Lindsay's like, I'm going to get kicked out of these. I know, Lindsay, but you watch and you're religious and you participate. So we'll keep you coming. So, and Mel, make sure you email me so I can get your information and send it to you.
And Lindsay has to tell me what book she wants, because part of what's in the swag is a book. So she needs to tell me that.
Lindsay, you have to pick one of Delta's books that you would like
And,
to sign.
and if you don't know which book you want, ask Nikki, and she will gladly tell you her favorite one, so that you can find out.
Nikki is on.
And have Mel do the same thing, and I'll send her a book too.
Okay.
Mel, make sure you send me your address and what book you would like from Miss Delta, and I will send that on to her. Thank you, both of you, John and Delta, for joining us this evening. This was fantastic.
Thanks for having us.
You are welcome back anytime. And actually, honestly, we would love to hear about the Viking story. So make sure you stay in contact with us so that we can.
You betcha.
Love to have you back.
Or have Renee contact us.
Renee just message me so we can work it out.
I know I am so bad. People will tell you that I'm awful.
But it's
just she runs that side of the business. I don't have anything to do with it.
You're just along for the ride.
Basically, I mean, I make jokes about it, but we went from having nothing when I started my newsletter in 2018, late 2018, with nothing. We have over 17,000 newsletter subscribers.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's a lot.
Renee does a great job. Renee does a great job. Send her your link and stuff information. We'll put it in the next newsletter.
Oh, I will. Okay. I will. I just learned. Okay, so I've been dragging my heels. All my buzzing people will know this. I've been dragging my heels about a newsletter because I personally, between my day job as a copy editor and formatting and all of that kind of good stuff, and the podcast and writing shows, I just didn't have time to commit to a newsletter. I just didn't. And all week I've been in this conference this week and last week about podcasts and way to grow your community and engage your community. And everybody's like, before you even produce your first episode, you should start your mailing list. And I'm like, oh, we're 8 months in and I now have Leah. So guess what, Leah?
But I like putting together newsletters, so it works out.
Well, Renee always puts together the basic newsletter, but every newsletter that goes out, I write a personal note for.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one. So that's how people learn all kinds of crazy things about me, and they have to look at pictures of my dogs, and they have to look at pictures of the house, and and it's just fun. It's really fun if I show pictures of the house, and I'll get private messages. Hey, where did you get that thing that was in your dining room? It's like, well, I got it here.
I got it here. I love that though. I mean, I'm always like that. Somebody like, oh, your shirt's really cute. Oh, let me send you the Etsy shop that I got that from. Or I bought that at Walmart. It was on sale for $3. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, I like to share my bargains. It's good. Yep. The dollar bin. It's all me.
I used to have a friend she came into my house one day with her mother, and I had bought this new cabinet, piece of furniture. And she looked and she goes, okay, how much did you spend for it? And mother went, and you can't ask somebody that's rude. She goes, oh, no, you don't understand. That's half the fun for her. And she's right. Trust me, I don't spend half of what people think I spend on stuff. I am the ultimate marketplace, Craigslist, all that kind of stuff. I find stuff and get stuff for next to nothing. I mean, I really am the ultimate bargain shopper.
I love that.
That's great.
Yeah, and Anna's right. It is half the fun for me. It's like People are like, how much did you pay for that? Yeah, I got that for $60. And they're like, seriously?
I never find deals like that. Well, anyway, thank you so much for giving us your time. We truly appreciate it.
Oh,
John,
thanks for having
joining
me.
us. Sorry to kick you out at first. We're glad you came back.
Delta
Delta didn't prep me. She didn't say.
I didn't know he was coming.
Just this
She's like,
random
"John,
box was
I'm not-"
popping up.
And I'm like, who is this? And what did I do wrong? And anyway,
I didn't know he was coming. It's not my fault. This one's not my fault.
that's okay.
It was
Anyway,
very kind of you. Thank you very much.
We're happy to have you. Please come back and share all your news with us. It was
Will
such a
do.
great time.
Anytime, ladies. Anytime.
Thanks everybody for joining us. We will see you next time. Cheers.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.